What's up, people? Live from the Depression Cave. As everybody knows, this is where it all began. So I was just reading some comments on the YouTube page. You guys are getting a little bit more constructive with your criticisms. Be more constructive with your feedback. Yeah, instead of just saying dick, loser, asshole, you're actually writing coherent, cohesive sentences, except for the one D-bag that I called out yesterday. Do me a favor, buddy. You're one of those guys that I can't get a good read on. You're sometimes with me, sometimes completely against me, and very insulting. Go away. Go away, buddy, because we're going to have to call you out too. And remember, you don't want to get on my shit list. For real. For real. Because if you experience what we experienced yesterday at the Hit the Bid headquarters, you don't want any part of what was going on there. Because between me and Stereo Mike, we're ready to bite somebody's face off. I'm talking about like tearing flesh from a skull with our face, with our mouths. Something like that. Yeah. And I wasn't going to do anything crazy this morning. I just want to let you know I'm not going to be around today. I got too many things to do. Stereo Mike will probably carry the day from the Hit the Bid headquarters. But about the criticisms. Now, I understand the concept of being oversold. But I also understand the concept of fear and uncertainty. Now, we were selling off into the close on Friday after Thanksgiving with complete fear and nobody knew what was going on. And then we gapped up Monday on whatever that bullshit was, the retail sales numbers that were better than expected, or people thought that people were spending a lot more money. What does that even mean? What a redundant statement. I was in Best Buy Friday evening, 7:30, and how many people were there? Zero. Are you telling me that everybody did what they had to do all in one day and that's it? And then Monday night, completely empty? I mean, completely empty. Zero people. It was me hanging out, looking for stuff to get, and I didn't buy anything with real money because I had all this credit. Anyway. But the criticisms that were saying, how did I not know the market was going to go up? Man, that's awesome. And again, if you're that smart and you're that great, I understand the concept of oversold. But the fear, there was no reason to take that shot. Now, if you want to say you took a shot because you gambled, congratulations. That's what this market's all about. And don't have any illusions that this isn't more of a gambling environment than ever before. Because what's been proven is that Yoku trade worked out extraordinarily. Remember what we did with the Yoku. We bought the short-term puts in November for the earnings report, and we bought the long-term calls just in case it recovered. And we are now almost about to win on both sides. We sold the puts because they were expiring that week. And then we held the calls because there was no reason to sell out of the calls because they were down to 10 cents. And now, 1,000% later, they're back to $1. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we call straddles. There's a different variety of straddles that sometimes we do. Sometimes we do a strangle. Sometimes we do a calendar straddle. Sometimes we just invent stuff that I don't know if it has a name for it. I'm sure it's maybe a three-winged iron condor butterfly strangle straddle. But remember, sometimes you get too much into the strategy, you don't even know what you want the stock to do anymore. But in this case, what we wanted it to collapse immediately and then possibly have a recovery going into the end of the year. And that's exactly how it worked out. Now, that strategy was based on not knowing where the stock was going to go, just hoping and predicting that the stock would move in large increments due to the volatility in the market and in that stock. Because Yoku had already fallen from grace. There was a good chance that they were just going to announce that they're not a real company, but they reduced earnings in the midst of the market selling off. It got hit and then found some footing, got short squeezed, and now we're able to get out of the call side also. So, remarkable that trade worked out, and the point of this whole conversation is that that's what we need to be doing from now on. Intraday stuff, yeah, sure, we'll look for pivot point reversals and, a few different things. And if you want to gamble, go right ahead at this point. Gamble all you want because that's what it's all about. Take some, look for the options that are relatively cheap, and we're going to plan out what we're going to do going into December. And we'll probably start doing that today, look at some options, Thursdays and Fridays, they've added some more options that expire on a weekly basis, the GMCR, the Yokus, the LinkedIn. And just to touch upon LinkedIn. Now, if you were in the chat room for the first time of your life, you experienced something that has been going on in my life for 15 years. I probably did this in the last video, but here's a situation. And a lot of people want to know, how does it work? How do I make money? How does it work? What exactly do I do? And for the people that don't understand and people that try to figure it out and say, oh, he just talks about his winners or blah, blah, blah. This was a situation. Monday, I think it was, right? Sorry, Tuesday. Tuesday, we were looking at Groupon for a long and LinkedIn for a long and a couple of the other stuff that didn't participate in the rally on Monday. Or I don't like calling it a rally, the gap on Monday. We looked for stocks that didn't participate because we thought maybe, even though they're garbage stocks, if you didn't participate in that gap, the next day sometimes money comes into those. So we looked at the Groupon and the LinkedIn. The Groupon's another story, but let's take a look at the LinkedIn. It was weak all day. Next thing you know, it's getting strong into the close. So we touched it at 59.5. Bought 500 shares. Immediately spikes right to 59.90. You see some big size there at 60. We're getting close to the close. There's only maybe a half hour, 40 minutes left in the day, I think it was. And they started hitting the 60s. So I immediately double dip. Normally I don't do this. Normally if I buy something at 59.50 and it goes to right to 60, I'll be offering it out at 59.98 just to get out of that stock and call it a trade. Boom. $200, $220 trade. But instead I was like, you know what? If this is going to rip right now, maybe there's some real buying coming in, which looked like some real buying coming in. The volume was spiking. The stock was going green. Everything was there for a setup. Added 1,500 shares to my position, 2,000 shares. Immediately stopped on a dime. I double dipped. I learned my lesson the hard way. Things sifted down immediately. Sold some at 59.50s, 59.30. And the last couple of hundred shares that I got out of was 59.02. And this is one of those situations. Whenever I take a beat down like that on a day trade, this is where I tell you here's what you got to do. Buy the stock, and there was no, I like it, this might be a good idea. Buy the stock here at 59.02 and hold it overnight. Because what happens to me is now the stock will gap up at least to 60, making with a loss that I took, one of those losses that you didn't have to take. But as a day trader, I try to obey the rules. Never hold an overnight. That's against you. Don't get stuck in a stock. That's against you, because more or less of the time, it gets worse because you're saying, let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. Let's hang on to that stock. Hopefully it gaps up tomorrow so I don't have to take this loss. Generally, that's the kind of trade that'll blow your account up. That is my world. So I obey the rules, and I tell you what I'm doing. I'm obeying the rules, and I want you to play this against me. Buy it at 59.02. So gapping up over 60 was inevitable. But then we had the biggest gap up we've had in since they outlawed shorting. And LinkedIn proceeded to go up 6 points that day. Now, whether or not you want to base this on anything else but me selling out of it, stochastics, Bollinger Bands, oversold conditions, the stock got upgraded, or whatever case, I didn't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't read any news about it, but it was definitely oversold. But these are the situations that I talked to you about, and that's just the icing on the cake, okay? Because there's so many other ways that you can make money, but that is the main idea of what I do. I let you exploit me for the loser that I am, the curse that surrounds me. Now, whether or not you want to accept it and embrace the horror that this can continue to happen to me, that's where you need to come to the chat room and experience it, how it happens every day. That's why I tell you to come hang out with us. It's free still, buddy. It's free. We're probably going to let it go free for the rest of the year. We're going to start next year brand new. And right now, you need to experience it for yourself. I understand. It's very difficult, I understand, to just blindly buy something because some idiot's taking a loss on it. I know, it doesn't compute. But 15 years running, it works 85% of the time. These are not coincidences anymore. And I've made this video hundreds of times, but I need to tell the new people about it. This is what happens to me. So why not check it out for yourself, embrace the horror, and make it work for you? Because what really makes me want to quit the industry, and it's not just gap ups and losing money and missed opportunities and Google going back to 615 after I took a 30-point hit on it, or US Steel missing that opportunity, or Groupon, or the hundreds and thousands of other opportunities that have come my way that I've missed out on in the last 10 years. Because this last 8-year span has been, whoo. You need to experience it for yourself, I understand. And that's it. All right. Good luck today. I'm not going to be around. Praise you, and please embrace the horror.